One thing about the ACC is action selection, okay, because there's a lot of inputs coming into the dorsal striatum from the ACC and the sensory motor, okay? So from the outside, it looks like instinct, but internally, it's a lot of repetition and refinement, not the diffusion refinement that we drew out in the mini columns. I'm talking about sticking on task and perfecting something. That's what refinement is meaning here, perfecting something. And then once it's perfected, once it's learned, it closes this loop. The thing about autism is this loop will stay open, and that's why the autistic phenotype can persist. That's why the autistic phenotype can stay on task, time on a specific task. 3. B3 of the DSM-5 and DSM-5-TR. Restricted fixated interest that are abnormal in intensity or focus. This is a huge part of learning. This is why the autistic phenotype can stay on task and learn, and with great detail to information. This is all happening here, and it's flooded in for the autistic phenotype because of the sensory processing. And all this information is coming through, and it's being ran through this loop until it's figured out. And the autistic phenotype can persist until however long it needs. Now, the problem is the social world, social norms will say, nope, time to switch, time to do something else, or you can't do that. You have to learn this subject instead. Great. It's fantastic. The autistic phenotype can stay on task and learn, build models, build databases for certain things, and that's why things like the visual thinking is also accelerating this and being able to keep this loop open, and then iterative learning is happening, and then that basal ganglia, and then a lot of repetition comes through the basal ganglia. Once things are perfected, they are sent to sensory motor areas and the basal ganglia, and it will become automated. This is a big thing for the autistic phenotype. That's why autism in intuition is more about being able to see things that others cannot. That's a big thing. Lastly, before we wrap up this little whiteboard episode and rant for sure, is remember the definition of autism is autos, which means self. The biology that gives us autism allows us to be comfortable within ourselves. And it's huge for learning.